How you doing? From the science and the research, there are 40 factors why we find it difficult as human beings to make friends, and that's broken down into 6 factors why we find it so difficult. Now, the interesting thing is there is a difference with regard to your sex and your age effects that deliver on these factors that prevent us from making friends. So let's delve into it. Making friends can be challenging for lots of reasons, let's face it, which also may vary depending on your individual circumstances and experiences. So a little bit of a warning here, my friend. One thing is that we have social anxiety. As people, believe it or not, hands up who does have anxiety? Yes, we all do. Even though I'm in front of a camera, it doesn't mean that there isn't some form of anxiety there socially in the background. It might be very small though, for me probably is, to be very honest. But we mightn't even know what that is until we put ourselves into the frame of all different types of gatherings. Think about it. I'm here with my friend, there's 2 of us, then there's 3 of us if I'm with a couple and we're like eating out or something like that. If I'm on my own and I'm in front of a bigger group or come to be part of a group and they're all individuals in a round table discussion, that might be awkward. Or if I'm walking up the street and there's a huge crowd coming against me, or if I'm going into a big concert, you get the feeling. There's all different types of crowds. There's all different types of gatherings. And so therefore, until we're projected into one or another, we don't know how we feel until we're really and truly on our own. Social anxiety can make people nervous and they can be confused because of it. And with this, they need to build rapport. The rapport building is a very interesting thing. If we go back to, say, our first day in school, we sit down beside a child and it's their first day in school too. So therefore, we can have an empathetic way about us. Like if I say, oh, this is weird, and you kind of go, it is weird. We have a giggle and a laugh like 3 and 4-year-olds do, which is wonderful. And they see the same thing, or at least they think they do. But socially, they're now together. They might start trading pens or pencils and start coloring together or doing something simple. And that's when they feel like, we have rapport. So if you can build a rapport socially throughout the biggest fear that is your gathering as such, you're going to have a better feeling towards friendship. Fear of rejection is another thing. People fear being judged, and this can prevent people from putting themselves out there. Like it's like putting video out there. I'm always wondering, is this video going to make an absolute clown of me? Is this video going to be the one that's people are going to judge me or meet me on the street and go, why did you say that? Why did you do that? So there's always that little bit of fear. But then if you use that in the right way and you try your very best to put something out there that's quality to help somebody somewhere sometime soon. And my little thing is, look, there's 8 billion people in the world. Maybe one person sees it and goes, oh, that's okay. That's good. I'm happy with that. So if you can have the fear and hold it and use it in a certain way that projects you to being more social. And when I say more social, look, nowadays people are online, right? We spend a lot of time, many hours a day online. And so we are interacting with others, and you might kind of go, that's a kind of good joke. They sent me by email or on Snapchat or whatever else. So therefore I'd like to meet this person. Why? Because I think I would chime with them. I think I would get on with them. We're the same age group. We're the same maybe sex. We have whatever else. So similarities can be great things, but they can push us apart if the energy isn't good in real life together. There might be also limited opportunities. Some people may find a struggle to make friends due to the lack of chances of bumping into somebody. I know certainly after the pandemic, it was very difficult to get back in with your older friends because there was a fear there to visit their houses. And so it was tricky to keep the relationship going. And then after a year or two, the time then carries on and people get into new habits. That doesn't mean to say they're not your friends. They won't be your friends for life. If you're watching, you're still my friend. But we definitely went different paths after a while. But then that's natural too if somebody couples up and somebody doesn't. That's another reason why friendships can go a different route. And if they do, it's like being on a highway. One is going north, one is going south, east or west. And with all of that, we don't physically see each other. We don't meet each other unless we consciously make up some form of annual event that we can attend, be it around our school where we met first, around our college, around our workplace, around whatever else. This could be Christmas, that is a wonderful time to be with people, to show love and to share and to be in person with people too. There's also limited opportunities. This is not an excuse. This actually could be the reality. Think about when you're really young. If you're really young right now, you'll understand this. If you don't have a motor car, if you don't have money, then your limitations for making friends are pretty much local. Now, okay, online might be cheaper. You might use your bills or somebody's paying it for you, maybe a parent or whatever else, to keep in contact with them, and that's cool. But that also gives you the opportunity to download apps that you can make friends with. We got to be careful with them, of course, but once we are and we're of a certain age, i.e. adulthood, we can choose consciously whether to be online or offline with our friendships. If it's offline, then locally it's going to be tough, because if you don't get on with somebody and you're developing yourself, if you're actually reading a lot and you're doing things and you're into one or two topics and nobody locally is into that, that can be very tricky. It can be painstaking, in fact, where you have to just go locally because you have no other choice. The cafe, the restaurant, the bar, whatever else, those could be the meeting places. Maybe playing sport or getting on with music or whatever else you like and they like too. That's a very good starting place, but you mightn't trust them. Let's face it. So lack of opportunity is certainly a thing. The access to social events, the regularity of it is definitely worth noticing. Difficulty trusting others, I understand it. Look, if you've been burned in the past, it can be very tough. People can actually subconsciously look like other people, and you run across this new person and go, what is it about them? I can't figure it. I can't put my finger on it. And this can work in a good way, don't get me wrong. You might actually open out and trust a person straight away because they remind you of a former friend, but you can't figure it out, and you realize they have a mustache and the other person didn't, but other than that, they look pretty much the same. On the other side of things, if somebody has hurt you that does have that mustache, you might subconsciously decide that, I don't know about this, I don't have a good feeling about this. So trusting others is a huge thing. There could be a struggle there. You mightn't be as open as before, and you might just find it difficult to make those bonds that are everlasting. Mismatched expectations. I might want something, they might want something else, even in the moment right now. And look, if we bring in a heavier friendship, it's called a relationship. When that happens, this can happen at any time, where I want to do this, they want to do that. It's not going to work. We're going to go our separate ways. Fine. We can do that in relationships, and friendships can be kind of awkward, but mismatched expectations, such as, like, say, shared interests are good, compatibility in some ways, but the expectancy of how well you're going to do in this shared interest, such as, again, a sport. One may be very, very ambitious to get stronger, to go to the gym all the time, to make sure they can get fitter and do better next season, whereas the other person is like, nah, I have no interest. I want to go party for the off season. And that's where there could be problems going into next season when you're trying to be teammates. You might actually, or I, or somebody near you, have a lack of social skills. Even though you met socially, it doesn't mean to say that person has skills. You may have just happened to be beside them. You may have been waiting in a toilet queue and you struck up a conversation. Before you know it, you get on with that person. You go into the toilet, come back up after washing your hands, of course, and suddenly you're feeling easy together, or at least you feel easy because the person's beside you. But the reality is you're doing all of the work. You're doing all of the breaking the boundaries down, and the crowd is around you, and suddenly someone comes over and you decide to honor that first person just because they were standing outside the toilet in the first place. And now that I think about that, could be a bit weird, but you get my drift, right? So those people can lack social skills. That's why they're outside the toilet in the first place, maybe, right? Geographical or lifestyle factors. I touched on it before, but if somebody has a different lifestyle and geographically you get on well, you follow, say, for example, the team representing the locality, and that's a very good thing, and that brings us all closer as a bond, as a culture, locally. But you mightn't actually, other than the sport, get on with it or get on with them because of that, because you might be interested in the actual nuances of the sport, whereas they might be really interested in what the team represents, the colours of the flags, the fact that it's linked to the geography of the area. That mightn't be the way you look at it at all. So in fact, when they change a rule in the game, you actually get despised by the fact that it's a different game now, and they might be kind of going, well, it's all the same because we're all local and that's the main thing, we're waving the flag, but that's not how you feel. So therefore, there may be a caveat with regard to all of this. So the nuances of all of these things are hugely important, not just geographically, but also with your lifestyle. Because if you have a different type of lifestyle, you like to get up earlier and do all your stuff early, and this is what is coded into you, this is what you've had from maybe a childhood thing, maybe you moved to the area, this is what you need to do, whereas the people around you are very relaxed to get up a little bit later. And okay, that's the culture of the area, but it drives you crazy. It's very difficult to keep the friendships going, or the time of meeting these people can be difficult. Why? Because you're getting up earlier, you want to meet in the morning because you're full of beans, but they're not. That's another thing. We need to put in time in effort of being in front of somebody, giving them our energy, listening to them, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and being able to have that eye-to-eye contact. That's all ripping away from my central bank of time. Thank you very much. So I need to be invested in you in the right way, because there's a two-way street here. You need to give me something, I need to give you something. It's called friendship. We share. If the other person is doing all of that, taking, and you're not like getting, well, there's something wrong. And friends kind of find it awkward to communicate this unless it's an argument. And that's where you don't want to go down. Culturally, or language barriers too can stop things. You might just jive with somebody, you might get on with them, you might laugh. Great sense of humor is a very good thing to pull people together. But if it's something visual, if it's body language, and you still can't communicate that in the longer run, it's going to be hard to glue that friendship together. These are the reasons why we can be pushed apart as friends. What we need to do with each other is open ourselves out, make loads of effort, and continue to assess if that's a good person to have in your life. If they are, well, then they want to be in your life. You want to be in theirs, and I want you if you're a good person. So come along on board. Thanks for watching. Please watch more.